Right, good morning everybody and welcome to this morning's live employee breakfast with Dudley College of Technology. This event is one of a series of events that we're running designed at introducing the brand new T-level qualifications and the vital part that you as an employer will play. This event will last around 30 minutes and it is being streamed live. There's also going to be a recording made which will be available after the event. If during the session today your internet does drop out at all, please don't worry, just follow the link that you used to get here and you'll be able to join back in. We do have a Q&A function running today, so if you have any questions, please do click on the icon that looks like two speech bubbles with a question mark and you'll be able to send a question through to us. All of the questions are visible only by myself, the moderator. So if you would like to receive the slides from today's event, what I would say is you do just pop your name and your email in and send it in as a question. And that way we can pull it off and make sure that you get a copy of the recording after the event's finished today. Just to confirm that any questions that do come through to the moderator are not visible by any other participants. We've got a fantastic panel for you this morning who I will introduce you to, and that panel includes, first up is Carl Veltman, who is an assistant principal here at the college. We've got Lyndon Whale, who is our curriculum leader for classroom-based IT. And we've got Phil Steele, who is our curriculum manager for science and animal science. We've got myself, who I am the employment and placement hub manager, and then Julie Tibbetts, who's our industry placement coordinator. And we have got apologies from Bernie Turner, who is our curriculum manager for health and social care in early years, but Phil is going to step in her place. So I'm now going to hand you over to my colleague Carl, who will kick off today's event.
Hi and good morning everybody. I'm delighted to welcome you to this breakfast meeting this morning, and I'm really excited to talk to you about T-levels and the work that we're doing to roll out T-levels here at Dudley College. Now most people locally and in the region have heard of Dudley College, but what you might not be aware of is that we've actually had a presence in the town delivering technical education here since 1862. And we're incredibly proud of the fact that we've had a place here at the heart of the town, delivering those technical and professional skills for such a long period of time. Certainly in the late 90s to the early 2000s, we had a reputation that we weren't as proud of, but it's fair to say that we've turned that around, and from 2010 we've invested over £60 million into our estate to give young people, employers and the local region the outstanding facilities, fantastic buildings and the latest tech that they deserve. So as an employer, why should you look to partner with us here at Dudley College? Well, following that huge investment into our estate, we now have an annual turnover of over £50 million. In 2017, we were rated Ofsted Outstanding. In 2019, we were awarded the Queen's Anniversary Award for higher and further education. And it's fair to say that at this point in 2021, we are considered one of the top colleges in the country. We have over 4,000 apprentices, over 5,000 16 to 18 learners, and we're incredibly proud of the reputation that we've built. For those of you familiar with our site, you'll know that we've created the Dudley Learning Quarter, which basically brings a whole host of campuses into the centre of the town, across the town, and each building has a special focus or subject area specialism. We work with hundreds of businesses and organisations across the region. Some of those are shown on the screen right now. And with those employers, we deliver apprenticeships, we deliver industry placements, and we also deliver bespoke training solutions for our partner companies. So that's enough about us. What about T-levels? Well, you may or may not have heard of T-levels. T-levels are the brand new vocational qualification that has been introduced by the government. You might be thinking, well, how does a T-level differ from what a learner can currently do? Well, the idea is that when a learner leaves school after their GCSEs, they'll have the choice of studying either an A-level or a T-level, a technical level qualification. The technical level qualification, the T-level, will be a combination of classroom theory and practical learning, but crucially, the program will include a 3-month industry placement to make sure that learners have the real life, real experience that employers are looking for. So we launched the first of these T-levels last September in 2020, and we're currently delivering those in childcare education, our digital pathway, which is digital production, design and development, and construction with the design, surveying and planning program. New for September 21, we'll be rolling out digital support services, healthcare science and science. And the fantastic thing about these new T-level qualifications is that with each year there'll be further subjects rolled out, and each element, each part of that rollout brings with it significant investment. So we've already put £1.3 million into our digital facility. We've created a classroom of the future for our education course, and we've got some brilliant building information modelling equipment for our construction learners. There's significant investment going into our science labs and health facilities that Phil will talk to you about later. So this is a fantastic opportunity for the college to once again improve its estate and the equipment available to learners, and to make sure that those learners have the very best equipment and access to the equipment that they need to be industry ready. So what's the difference between a T-level and an apprenticeship? Well, a T-level program, as I've said, includes a 45-day work placement. That's 20% of the program to equip learners with the knowledge and skills that you as employers are looking for. 80% of the course is delivered in the classroom, and that differs to an apprenticeship, which is typically 80% in employment and 20% in the classroom. So I'd like to move on to Lyndon now, who's going to talk to you a little bit about the digital options available.
Morning everybody. I'm Lyndon Well. I'm the curriculum leader for computing and digital at Dudley College. Just a quick update on our department. We're actually based at the Dudley Inspired Centre in Brierley Hill, which is on Venture Way, if you know the area. It's a fully repurposed building that's had a lot of money spent on it, brand new equipment. It's really good, really high quality for all our courses, not just T-levels. But to focus on T-levels now, we've offered one T-level already in September 2020. We're about to offer this one here, Digital Support Services, which is going to be launched in September 2021. If you look at that image on the screen in front of you at the moment, you can see it's actually what we could say 1,200 guided learning hours, which is it's a 2-year course, 600 hours per year. If you look at the blue section there, it explains what happens in the first year. We have core examinations and what's called an employer set project. No portfolio work, no coursework as such, totally assessed by examinations. It's externally assessed, covering all the core elements. In the second year, learners move on to what's known as an occupational specialism. We've got a choice of 3. We're going to focus on digital support. Again, that's externally assessed synoptic assessments set by the awarding body. And at the bottom, you can see, as Carl mentioned, we have a significant industrial placement of 315 hours or 45 days. Learners are expected to have their GCSE maths and English or functional skills when they arrive with us, because that's part of the program that has to be completed. And we're also offering something called a CompTIA A+, which is an industry standard qualification recognised by IT professionals worldwide as part of the program. We're going to build that in. So when learners leave with us, as well as having a T level, they'll have the GCSEs as well. They can have a professional qualification as well. So if we look at some of the content that's contained in the 2 years, it's broken down into 12 main sections. It's not the course is about digital support, technical support, networking, cloud technology, but it focuses on the bigger holistic approach, business context, culture, digital environments, legislation, to list a few. And the occupational specialism, which is obviously runs in the second year, focuses on those 3 main areas there. Just a little bit about the CompTIA A+ that we're going to include as well. That's an industry, well, an industry standard international qualification where learners take 2 examinations. At the end of it, they become a certified professional, working with core technologies, and it's highly sought after. So when you complete this program, you will have had an extensive 2-year program in digital technical support, and you'll also have an industry standard qualification as well as that. Just a little look at how the 2 years are laid out, and the assessment process you'll undergo. There will be a core assessment in year 1. Okay, they can see that happens in May 2022. There will be 2 core exams. The whole year, obviously, there will be teaching as laid out there in grade the core. There's also a significant employer set project. It's actually not, you have to be careful of the wording of that. It's not actually set by the employer. It's like an employer type scenario. If someone's unfortunate and doesn't pass the examinations are repeated in the second year as in a resit type mode. The second year, though, you can see from the blue section, that's where the learners undertake a significant work placement, and they carry out their occupational specialism in parallel with that as well. I'm just going to briefly mention as well, we also do offer another T level that we've run since September. So we've got sort of 2 pathways. The first one I've just spoke about is digital support. The one we're also running at the moment is called digital production, design and development. Few of the topics mentioned there, that is a software development pathway. So if anybody's interested, you know, if that suits anyone's needs, for anyone working web development, software development, coding, that's the one for that. And if anybody does take that pathway in a similar way to the first one, the digital support services, alongside that, we also offer some Microsoft industry type qualifications that run in parallel as well, based on cloud fundamentals, artificial intelligence, Azure technology. And these are standalone Microsoft qualifications that cost quite a bit of money to take normally as an independent person, but the learners will get those free as part of their T level as well. So by the time they leave, they will have some really high quality qualifications.
Thank you, Lyndon. I think it's over to me. And my name is Phil Steele, and I'm the Curriculum Manager of Science and Animal Science. And I'm also talking on behalf of Bernadette Turner, who's the Curriculum Manager of Health and Social Care. So the T levels that we offer are going to be kind of a wider spectrum. So if you can imagine that our large T level falls under the category of what we call health and science. And this umbrella T level underneath it covers a lot more range of what healthcare science and science in itself. So you can see that it's a large umbrella, but within those umbrella, you have these kind of subcategories. So if we just take each one of them kind of on its own and briefly speak about them, and I'll talk about how it'll be refurbed as well. So our first T level is under health, and those specialist pathways will become adult nursing and midwifery. And just like Lyndon was talking about, you'll have your small kind of work experience in the first year, and then your larger work experience in your second year, when you talk about your specialisms and talk about the specialist modules. We then offer a second T level in health science, in particularly in the pathway of assisting in healthcare, and then our third T level in science, and that's based around our lab technicians, and that gears you up for both working in schools to NHS to professional laboratories and so on. And what we're really pleased is that we've put a large capital bid in and large funding to have our 4 labs be converted into 6 labs. One of these will be a digital science lab, and then bespoke chemistry, physics and biology, but also the technology that goes with it. So it's not just having, for example, a microscope. These will be now digital microscopes, all plugged into computers that link to industry standards. We've also got simulated hospital beds, hospital wards, where we've got all the technology that is mimicked in the NHS. So students are getting hands-on that first experience of what real life situations are, and along with all the technologies that go with it. And I would love to show the new plans, but all those plans are being drawn up as we speak. But it just gives all these learners the best experience of when they go into industry, they know exactly what they're ready for, and when they do their work experience, that joined up thinking, they know exactly what's going on to and from within classroom to in their work experience. So we're really excited about these new T levels. We really think the health and science is going to be a big thing with a new recent demand, or the ever increasing demand, and we're quite excited that it's all going to fall into place. Thank you for listening.
Fantastic, thank you very much, Phil. As I'm sure everybody watching will agree, the T levels are a massively exciting prospect, and as Lyndon alluded to, we are already delivering 3 T levels, with these extra 4 ones coming out in what we call Wave 2 from September. So I'm just going to explain a little bit more detail about why we need you as employers, and why your input and your support is so important in making these T levels a massive success. As my colleagues have mentioned previously, all of these T levels, the thing that makes them stand aside from most of the full-time programs is this thing called industry placement, and a lot of people kind of will hear the word industry placement and think work experience, and it's not that. We kind of, an industry placement, as my colleagues have mentioned, as well as a classroom-based learning, by the end of this 2-year programme, every learner will have been out and done at least 315 hours of high-quality, meaningful industry placement with the host employer. So this is much more than your traditional work experience, where you just put a learner in and kind of leave them to their own devices. 315 hours is around 45 days. How those are delivered in terms of their block or day release is specific to each programme, and that's the kind of conversation that we're happy to have with employers on a kind of one-by-one basis. But these industry placements are so important because they do, as everyone has mentioned, they are such a large part of the qualification. So whilst on placement, and as I said before, it's much more than the traditional old work experience placements, in that when learners are out on placement, they're coming to you able to apply skills and knowledge that they've already gained on their programme so far, supporting you within a role and developing their experience and confidence, but supporting you on a project. The idea is that the learners will play a vital role in supporting you with that project and offer that extra pair of hands. So as I say, they are coming out, often they're coming out having done at least a term of learning, and as I say, they will come out in their second year with a good 12 months worth of theoretical knowledge behind them. So they're coming out with much more ability to be a real support within a project. So why would you want to host an industry placement? We speak to many employers, and they say that what they struggle with maybe is attracting some of the young talent, or some of the large organisations that we're working with say that they find it difficult to showcase every element of their business to young people. So really, hosting an industry placement as an employer just gives you the opportunity to showcase your organisation to the next generation, to get young people in and show them every different element of your business, and particularly say for employers who traditionally struggle to attract that local talent, hosting a placement just allows access to those key areas, and it has been proven to be beneficial to recruitment. My colleague Julie will speak in a little while about progression opportunities, but as I say, a lot of these young people after the end of their 2-year programme, the idea is that you've had them in place and you've been able to show them, as I say, all those different aspects of your business. to really have an idea of how a young person might work in your business. As it says here, you know, if as an organisation you're looking at future-proofing your workforce, so are looking of ways to get young people in at a trainee level, but you're maybe not sure about how a young person might fit in within your business, well then actually hosting an industry placement just gives you the ideal opportunity to see the talent that's available, to get a young person in and really see how a young person might work within your business. Because when learners are out on placement with you, because they're out there for 315 hours, we ask that they are assigned an in-house mentor. What that does is give you as an employer the opportunity to develop the infrastructure that you need to support a younger, more diverse workforce, and obviously the opportunity for you to recognise existing staff that you might want to move into a more senior mentoring role in the future. So by having a young person in and having that mentor system in place just gives you a lot of benefits in terms of getting that young person in, but also, as I say, recognising your existing staff and giving them that mentoring opportunity. And now more than ever, a lot of the young people that we work with are looking at alternatives to the traditional academic route. So a lot of young people maybe aren't as attracted to university these days, and actually interest in apprenticeships, and in particular higher level apprenticeships, is growing year on year. And as I say, many of these young people are looking to enter the world of work once they complete their T-level. Opportunity for you to try before you buy, and you know, the work that we do within the apprenticeship, the placement hub here, it is very much, we're very passionate about keeping our talent local, and showing young people that actually the jobs that they aspire to in terms of digital roles and health roles, they don't have to go to the big cities to get that kind of work. So an industry placement is a really nice opportunity to show young people that the careers and the opportunities that they aspire to actually exist within the local Black Country area. So just really to recap the industry placement, as I've said before, and my colleagues have said, it is a minimum 315 hours across a 2-year programme. The vast majority of those are done in year 2. I say some of the programmes do have an element in year 1, but the vast majority of those 315 hours are done in year 2. Students are not expected to be paid whilst they're out on placement. It is voluntary. However, we do cover travel expenses, so that students aren't out of pocket by going out on placement. Where relevant, so on programmes like the healthcare science education, learners will have a DBS check prior to going out on placement. That isn't something that you have to cover. And also through pre-placement support, we do some work with learners around CV writing, interview tips, work readiness, and they have regular on-placement reviews as well, just to make sure that when they go out, they really do get the most out of their industry placement. So I'm going to hand you over now to my colleague Julie, who is our industry placement coordinator, and she's just going to talk to you a little bit about progression opportunities should you be interested in taking on a young person on placement.
Okay, thank you, Emily. Good morning, everyone. So just to go through a little bit about progression routes from the T-level, there are various options for progression here at Dudley College, especially with the new IoT opening in September, which is so exciting. So progressions, what's on offer so far? Just to mention a few, the options of a higher level technical study or university. But as you can see from this slide we've got here, the T-level qualification does actually carry new test points. So as my colleagues have mentioned, it is equivalent to 3 A levels, which is, you know, fantastic for them. There's an option to move to a higher level and degree apprenticeships. And there's also an option to move into junior employment roles, which is great for any organisation, as it's a pipeline to recruit junior talent, especially if you've got, you know, an aspiring keen student on an industry placement. It can be a more efficient and cost-effective way of recruitment. So let's give an example of the T-level with healthcare and science. So the progression to maybe a higher level apprenticeship for healthcare science would be a level 4 healthcare science apprenticeship, where there are currently, I think, 3 or 4 pathways that are available. And at this stage, we are in talks with all the trusts nationally to understand what the immediate needs are. And then that will transition and follow into a level 6 apprenticeship. So as you can see, it opens up a lot of progression routes for students, allowing organisations to fill skills gap really with aspiring students, and a great way of ensuring that students have the exact skills you require for the organisation. I hope that's explained a little bit about it. I don't know whether there's anybody wants to add anything there about the progression. No? Yeah? No? Yeah? Okay, right. Thank you, Emily.
Fantastic, thanks, Julie. I'm sure everyone will agree that say the T levels have a huge number of positives. One being, as Julie's mentioned there, the opportunity to look really at how your staffing will work over the next few years and see whether progression off the end of a T level into something as Julie says, like an advanced apprenticeship or into employment is a really nice option for these young people. So that's coming towards the end of the presentation now. I will just have a look at the Q&A and see what we've had come through. As I've said, anybody who is watching, if I can ask that you send your name and an email address in as a question, just so that I can make sure that everybody gets the viewing link. There's a lot of information to absorb today, so obviously having the viewing link and being able to pause and read slides helps. So if I can just make sure that everybody sends in their name and an email address before we finish today. So we have had some questions. So the first question, which I think Carl kind of touched on earlier, but we will go back and just clarify. So Carl, if you wouldn't mind, we've had someone come in and ask just what is the difference between a T level and the other full-time programs? I know we touched on apprenticeships, but if you could just sort of explain, we've had someone ask what is the difference between a T level and the other full-time programs?
Okay, well, first of all, it's fair to say that the content of the T-level qualifications is incredibly modern and relevant. These qualifications have been written and created by groups of employers and are responding to the very current needs of industry and employers at this time. So they're different in terms of the content, in terms of the structure of the programs. As we've said, they are divided between classroom-based delivery and an industry placement in the workplace. That is 80% in the classroom, 20% in the workplace, compared with an apprenticeship, which would be a flip of that, which would be 80% in the workplace, 20% in the classroom. Obviously, as well as that, we deliver full-time classroom-based learning where learners spend 100% of their time here at college. So there is a very real intention with these qualifications that they are industry-led, industry-driven. The content is very new, very relevant, and that the learners get a very good balance between the work that they're doing here at college in the classroom and the experience that they get through the industry placement with employers.
Fantastic, thank you, Carl. And then I think we've got time for just one more question, and we're just running bang on time, which is fantastic. So Phil, if I could just ask you this question. Obviously we've mentioned previously that all learners will be required to have a C in maths and English in order to come onto the T level, and I think obviously maybe given what's happened in the last couple of years, someone quite kind of understandably has asked, what if a young person has applied for a T level based on their predicted grades, but obviously don't then get the C? Are they allowed to go on to the T level, or what is the option really for a young person who might have applied but maybe didn't get the grades that they wanted to go on to the T level?
Okay, so there are two kind of real main options, and the first is probably the most exciting option, is that we now do a level 2 T-level transition program, and that really gears people up to in preparation for that level 3, but alongside studying their English and maths. So really trying to support them to get to that grade 4 to make sure that then they are ready to go to that T-level, kind of like level 3. If they're unsure, we do then have a whole spectrum of level 2 courses alongside, and that can be in a variety of subjects from anywhere from science, health and social care, across the whole spectrum of all programs that kind of follow to the T levels anyway. So each individual learner would kind of have a choice. They'd apply to us, they'd have an interview with us, and then they'll have that discussion on which is that kind of best option for them.
Fantastic, thank you, Phil. And we have got time for just one more question, which is one that's come in that which I'm going to ask my colleague Julie. So we've had one come in, Julie, from an employer that said that they've watched this morning and they're interested in learning a little bit more about hosting a learner and just really what are their next steps in terms of what are their next steps if they're interested in taking on a learner.
Brilliant, thanks Emily, good question. So next steps for hosting industry placements. Well, so in order to begin the process, there are a few things we need to ascertain really. One being the matching of the right student to the right organisation. So we go through a process with you to understand what your needs are and of course what the needs of the students are to complete their qualification and get the best out of it. So one of the team will arrange a meeting with you to gather all the information about the organisation, etc. Then we discuss the industry placement role with you, so what you're expecting the student to do and what they'll be able to do, and check the suitability really. So we will go to curriculum to make sure that what you're offering is relevant to the requirements and the needs of the qualification, which, you know, obviously outline the roles and responsibilities also for you as an employer, because you do have roles and responsibilities to that student, and we'll discuss those with you. We also do the relevant checks, so we have to make sure that the company has the employee liability. We do a health and safety, and for obvious reasons we make sure that you've got a COVID secure policy in place for obvious reasons. So what happens on the other side of that, with all those checks in place, it enables us to match the student to the placement to the right organisation. So we work closely with the student in the hub here. You know, we have various meetings with them. They have meetings with their course tutors just to make sure they're prepared to do their industry placement. So we give them a work readiness so that they'll come with that ready, hopefully. If the organisation requires a DBS check, we make sure that's in place. We handle all that here in the hub with the help of curriculum. The curriculum staff work closely with us in the hub as well, and you as an employer, just to make sure the smooth running of the process during, before and after. So we don't just leave you out there. He's our student, get on with it. We do pride ourselves in having close contact with you. So will curriculum and everyone else. We do encourage you to go through the normal process of interview. Obviously, you know, this is work readiness and this is putting our students out into the world of work. So we'd expect you to interview them as you would any other employee. But obviously we need you to take into account that this actually could be their first interview in employment. But, you know, we pride ourselves in working closely with you. So there we go. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you, Julie. I think that just brings us to the end of the questions. As Julie said, you know, we within the recruitment team where myself and Julie are based is that we work really closely with curriculum and learners to make sure that the learners go out on placement for a placement that's best fit for them, but also that is best fit for you as the employer. That, you know, we are asking you to take on a young person for quite a substantial period of time, so we have a number of things in place to make sure that that is the right learner for you. And as I say, we already have learners out at the moment, and we're having some really nice feedback coming back, and we've got some really exciting stuff coming up. So hopefully that's given you sort of a crash course almost into the next wave of T-levels that come out. As I say, this event is being recorded and will be made available via email and also via LinkedIn probably in the next. There will be a number of these events happening over the next few months as more T-levels come out, and we obviously, myself and my colleagues, very much look forward to hearing from any employer interested in wanting to host a placement. And if you just drop an email there to the industry placements at dudleycole.ac.uk, and one of the team will get back to you. I do hope you found that useful, and we're very much looking forward to working with you in the future to support our young people. Thank you.